Every symbol has a story, but there are very few that are woven so deeply into the fabric of a nation as the American flag. So today, let's unpack how this iconic design was born from revolution, from legend, and from a really powerful dream. So how is a nation's symbol born? Does it just appear in a flash of inspiration, or is it something hammered out in a stuffy committee meeting? Well, for the American flag, the truth is, it's kind of a little of both. And it was all driven by a moment of incredible national urgency. I want you to just picture it. It's the summer of 1777. The American colonies are in the middle of this desperate, all-out fight for their freedom. But there's no single banner for everyone to rally under, no one emblem that represents their shared cause. The need for a symbol, it wasn't just a nice to have, it was absolutely essential. What they needed was something powerful enough to bring together farmers and soldiers and dreamers, all under a single revolutionary identity. It couldn't just represent who they were right then, but what they were hoping to become. It had to be a symbol for the dream of a new nation. Okay, so this dream of a unified nation, it needed to be made real. It needed an official stamp of approval. And so the task moved off the battlefield and into the halls of government, where the Continental Congress got to work creating the flag's official blueprint. And here it is. This is basically the flag's official birth certificate, passed on June 14th, 1777. What's so amazing about it is the language. It's not poetic or flowery, right? It's just a direct, bold, no-nonsense declaration of what this new symbol was going to be. The design itself was just packed with meaning. Those 13 stripes, alternating red and white, well, each one stood for one of the original colonies, all of them standing side by side in their fight for independence. And then you have the 13 stars. Set against that blue field, they represented those exact same 13 colonies. They were meant to form what was described as a new constellation in the night sky, like a new light appearing among the nations of the world, all born from this really daring idea. But an official resolution is one thing. Actually bringing it to life, that's something else entirely. And this is where the story gets a little more personal, where we move away from the official decree and into the popular legend of how those stars got their final shape. And this is where the legend of Betsy Ross comes in. The story goes she was this incredibly skilled seamstress in Philadelphia, and she was approached by none other than George Washington himself, along with a few other leaders, to sew the very first flag. Now, this is where you get this perfect blend of practicality and artistry. The legend says that the original design they brought her had a 6-pointed star. But Betsy, being the expert, she apparently argued that a 5-pointed one would be way simpler to make. And to prove her point, she supposedly folded a piece of cloth, and with one single snip of her scissors, bam! A perfect 5-pointed star. Just an elegant, practical solution that ended up shaping the flag we know today. But here's a really cool thing. The flag that was designed back in 1777 was never meant to be frozen in time. The people who created it actually built into its DNA this ability to grow and evolve, right along with the nation it represented. So it started simple, 13 stars for the 13 colonies. But as the country expanded, a new star was added to that constellation for every single new state. The flag literally became a living map of the nation's growth. So even though the number of stars kept changing, growing all the way from 13 to 50, the flag's fundamental meaning, that endured. It flew through wars, through civil rights struggles, and through these huge moments of national triumph, always representing the same core ideals. And what were those ideals? Well, they were clear right from the beginning. Freedom, of course, that was the whole reason for the revolution. Unity, the goal of bringing all these different colonies together as one. And maybe most importantly, the courage to build a totally new future. So in the end, the flag was never really just about the fabric and thread that Betsy Ross might have stitched together. It was, and it still is, the real, tangible symbol of a nation's dream. From a revolutionary decree to the modern emblem we see everywhere, the flag has carried so much history. And that leaves us with a final thought. A question for you, really. What does this symbol mean to you today?